Greetings. Welcome back to Audiowave Records and my home studio. I'm DJ Audio, and I have a sponsored video today, a partnership promotion with a drummer, a reggae drummer from Austria at reggaebeats.net. Dominik is a reggae drummer who sells RIDDIMs online. He also sells MIDI packs. Here you see Dominik. He's a reggae producer and drummer from Austria. His RIDDIMs are all made by himself, and he sells and collaborates online. You could buy RIDDIMs from him, or you could collab with him. He also sells MIDI packs of drums that he plays, these V drums, and captures the MIDI and sells them in a file, and you can purchase the file online, reggaebeats.net. Go to reggaebeats.net to get custom-made RIDDIMs as well as MIDI pack drums. What I'm going to be going through today are his drums. This video is in partnership with Dominik, so full disclosure, he did give me the MIDI pack for free. But beyond that, this is not a paid promotion. He's not paying me to say anything. And everything that I'm going to be discussing and talking about are my own personal opinions and my feelings about Dominik and what he's selling online. What do you get when you buy his MIDI pack? Here's Dominik's Reggae Drumset Essentials MIDI pack. He's now selling for $29. It's a great price. It's a MIDI library that's recorded on V drums. So the MIDI information, the MIDI data is what he gives you. And there's three main playing styles: one drop, rockers, and steppers. Those are different types of reggae rhythms. And within each one, there's, a couple dozen beats. The MIDI loops come with intro rolls, beats, and drum fills. So basically everything that you need to fully produce an entire song with all the fills, intros, everything that makes a reggae song really sound complete. What Dominik sent to me was a WeTransfer. So on WeTransfer.com, I downloaded this folder, and in it came beats. Here you have one drop. There are 7 one drop beat shuffles. Straight, there are another 15. And then in rockers, he's got shuffle and straight, another 4. Straight, there's 18. And then in steppers, shuffle, 7. So shuffle is, just has a little bit more swing, and the way that the beat is not so on time or so straightforward or straight. And then you go to drum fills. Again, they're categorized by one drop, shuffle straight, rockers, shuffle straight, steppers, straight, and there's 19 fills here. Within the rockers one, there's another 39 fills. So you get a lot of options, and each one of these, it's MIDI information, so you have to actually plug it into a VST or a drum program to get it to actually, play the drum sounds. And intro rolls, again, he's got shuffle and straight, a good 40 intros. So plenty of material to go through. Here's mapping information as well for if you are using one of these drum VSTs like Addictive Drums 2 or something. He describes how to do the MIDI mapping so that the MIDI information is triggering the drums appropriately. All right, let's go here to Logic. Open it up. We'll start with a drum kit designer. So go to Drum Kit Designer, multi-output, create track. Now here we have a drum kit. So just, you know, we could pick a standard, go with this birch kit. If you're using a drum VST or a program, a different application in here like Addictive Drums or something like that, it's basically the same thing. These are just drum programs that you could play. If I were to go over to my MIDI keyboard and hit some pads. There's my snare and kick drum. With Dominik's MIDI packs, if I go to import a MIDI file, let's pick one of these rockers beats. So again, this is just in his folder, Drum Essentials, Beats, go to rockers and straight. Let's try number 5. Import tempo. So it's at 70. I think most of his are at 70. You could change that, alter it however you like. And then let's put it on this drum track and let's see what we got here. Now, if you go here and double click on this MIDI information, it pulls up piano roll, so you can see here this is his playing. And again, because he's playing on a virtual kit, you know, with drumsticks, you get good dynamics with these. So if you look at, here's the hi-hat. This velocity is 20, where this velocity is 127. This velocity is 56. This one's 18. Randomizing it like that is what gives it a natural feel. It's something that when I'm placing drums or if I'm playing it with the pads, I want to always make sure that not every one of those is set at like 127, because then it's going to just be all hitting super hard and heavy, and there's not going to be any variation or dynamics, which will make it just sound robotic. Again, that's never something we want. If the feel that we're going for is a live drummer, what we want it to sound like is something like this. Now, this is Logic stock drum kit. This would not be something that I would use on a song. Certainly not just right out of the box. If anything, I might come here, pick like this muted brass, tune it down a little bit. Right, and maybe it'll sound a little bit better. Regardless, I would much prefer to use my own drum sounds. That being said, the best way to do it would be my suggestion would be to load Drum Machine instead of the drum kit. And then in here, I actually saved, if I go to my user patches, I could pick this rockers and I have my drums here. Hi-hat, kick, snare. But if you're starting from scratch and you have an empty kit, the easiest way to fly in your drum samples would be to open up your folder and I'd find some of my drum packs. Here I'm going to go to Dubmaster Khan's drum samples that I bought from him. Really good live drum sounds, recorded on a kit, tuned with the desire to have, you know, like this one's got Marley shots, Roots Radix. DM Khan, Dubmaster Khan is an audiophile for sure, and he certainly puts in a lot of time to get these drum sounds precise. And when you go into his samples, this hi-hat, and you can drag and drop these. So here, if I put this where the closed hi-hat goes, that's actually an open one. So let's put that the open hi-hat. And let's go back to there. You can do like a quick look type of thing. Like this will help you to sample the sounds first. See, that one's really open, 63. So I'm gonna go over down a bit to like 9, 10 and see if I can find a closed one. There, that's a good one. Let's go with number 9. Put that in the closed hi-hat. Now I have my hi-hat open and closed. I'll go back and I'll pick a kick. I'm going with these fully processed ones just so they're a little bit beefy and louder to start with, so that I'm not gonna have to do any processing or compression or anything like that, just to make this example for you. Add a kick. Add a snare. Let's try his Pearl Sensitone muffled. Or actually, let's go with this raw one. Let's pick number 19. Right, now that I have my snare, hi-hat, and kick in place in my drum machine, close this up, take this MIDI information, drag it from this drum kit to the drum machine that I just put in place. Now, see, the MIDI mapping is already placed the way it should be because his snares and hi-hats and stuff are set up for just general mapping. The default on his packs are set to GM as far as MIDI mapping goes. What GM stands for is general MIDI. So if you put a kick, a snare, a hi-hat in the placement, like here, this is supposed to be this D1 that's on the keyboard. So the D on the keyboard, general MIDI mapping is set for the first snare. Then when you place your snare or drag and drop like I just showed you into here, it's going to put that MIDI information in the appropriate place where you want it on the snare. So now, listening to these drums, now what we have is going to sound a little bit better with a little bit of EQ and mixing. Of course, it'll get even better. Pretty simple plug and play, drag and drop. Just load up some of the MIDI information and you have your drum patterns. Now, if you start to add fills and other things, obviously you can just kind of arrange this. I'd put an intro first, then start my beat, maybe some fills in there, and it would take some time to get this put together. This is a quick example of one of his rockers beats, starting from scratch, loading up the MIDI information, putting it on the tracks, you know, setting up your drums and producing. At least as far as the beat making goes, the drums, this saves you hours of playing. It's like having your own drummer. So you just drag and drop, bring it in, and then start mixing and producing the other instruments. Now that we've seen kind of how to start one, I'm going to go to a beat that I produced last week using Dominik's drums. I'm gonna open this up. Okay, now here is a little bit more of a finished piece of music. These are Dominik's drums, and in here I have intro, you know, roll, the pattern goes through, and there's several instances of fills. And after I produced this and had all my different clips in there, I ran it through my compressor and got some, you know, some analog feel to it. After a lot of work and processing, this is the finished product that I have. Here now then is the rhythm that I made using Dominik's drums. All right, now that we've listened to that whole thing and you saw the breakdown of all the drum patterns and different MIDI sections that went into this drum track here. Now this is after all the processing. I bounced all the tracks in place. You see BIP, this is what happens if you have all these plugins and different things on a track, and especially like I had a lot of MIDI from the piano and the organ and clavinet and the drum MIDI. All that information really starts to slow down the computer from all the processing that's happening. So I like to, once I get pretty comfortable and happy with where I'm at, bounce in place all these tracks, simplify and lessen. You saw in that last session, one of the earlier saves of this RIDDIM, I had 90 tracks total, consolidated, bounced, even processed through some of my analog hardware on the drums and the bass and guitars. And in the end, now I'm down to 21 tracks. And now if I were to, let me go here and solo these drums out. And let's listen to, since this is a video showcasing Dominik's drums, let's listen to these drums all the way through, and you could hear what a finished version of his work sounds like. So it's the intro going, and then here comes a little fill intro roll. And these drums here, by the way, these are all Dubmaster Con drums. I wanted to stick to keeping it simple, and oftentimes I use some drums from Con. I'll use some Green Lion Crew drums that I have. I've been producing for a while, and I have, you know, an extensive library of sounds. So sometimes I'll go back and put snares on top of snares and maybe have like a clap in there, you know, different things like that. But in this RIDDIM, in this case, I use nothing but Dubmaster Con's drums, and the rolls and the hits that you hear are his Marley shot hits, which I love the way those sound. They're meant to replicate Carlton Barrett, Bob Marley and the Wailers drummer. And it's also Dubmaster Con's side stick rim, which is really clean and good. These drums came out, I really like the way they sound. And the playing, Dominik's playing is great. I'll go back to this intro. I'm going to play this for a little bit, and then I'll bring in maybe bass and some rhythm, and you could hear kind of as it builds and adds on how these drums just sound on a reggae RIDDIM. And again, those fills are some of the most important things in reggae. And, you know, I wanted to really, again, showcase his playing and what's in this MIDI pack. So each one of these rolls, I chose a different number. Like when I went through the folder and I showed you, you know, roll number in the one drop, there's like 40 different fills. One of these is number 17. One of these is number 24. One of these, you know, so on and so forth. And each one was different so that I wouldn't typically do something like that because it's going to be, I don't know, very varied and different throughout, but it works still. So I'll play this through a little bit more and do some of these fills and kind of accentuate those parts. That was a timbale that's in there too. So you could get some really good sounds. And in those fills, you know, it's MIDI information. So if he's doing a bra pa pa pa, and you wanted one of those hits to be a timbale, even though he had it as a snare, you simply drag it into place and make it what you want. So being able to change the MIDI information too, like I think on a couple of these I did that actually. Rather than have it be a snare, I changed it to a timbale to get a little extra crack. It's limitless to what you can do. It's pretty simple if you just kept it straight, but you could really get creative and work with it a bit too. Let's actually go to the beginning of this intro, add the bass that I played in there, and hear how it sounds with the bass too. Start to build this rhythm piece by piece. Like everything else, I tried to keep all this very simple. This is actually in A major, this song, and the chords were A and D major. Here I'll play the rhythm as well. Start this from 9 there, and let's hear how it sounds then as I bring in the rhythm, and this muted pluck helps the bass as well too. And just hear this, how those drums are now thinned out with the bass and the reggae bang. There you have it. That's pretty good. I mean, it sounds really clean. Definitely love the way that the drum feel is. It gave this whole thing a really good vibe. Now again, this is my way that I chose to do it, using a drum machine for the purpose of wanting to use my drums, my drum samples. You could always use the stock drums in Logic and just tune them the way you want to tune them. You could get them to sound pretty good. Most importantly, would I recommend you to buy this MIDI pack from Dominik? Absolutely, yes. Especially now, I think he lowered the price. It was $39, now it's $29. For this price, you know, he's giving you over 300 loops. If you're to put one of those beats on a track and just loop it start to finish just by itself, like within 20 seconds you have your drums done. You have a beat ready to go. It's really nice to get that part of it out of the way and done and move on to the instrumentation. I oftentimes will spend hours on the drums, so even 20-30 minutes of cutting out some of the time there is helpful. So this is really a quick, easy way to get things going, to get it all started. I would definitely recommend the Reggae Drummer Dominik Reggae Drum Set Essentials MIDI Pack. Give thanks for checking out this video. Give thanks to Dominik in Austria for working with me on this. I reached out to him and asked him if he would be interested, and he was. He sent me the drum pack for free. Again, I'm very grateful. Thanks, Dominik, for that. Definitely going to be using it a lot. And I, again, would absolutely recommend this for 29 bucks. It's a steal. And also check out, if you are a singer and you're looking for a producer, check out Dominik's work. He's got some really nice rhythms. It's got a good vibe. He Here you can purchase some of his rhythms. He sends you an MP3 and a WAV file, and it's all royalty free. You know, he has licensing information on his website here you could check out too. And here's an example of YouTube of some of his work. Be sure to subscribe to my channel, Audiowave Records. I have other tutorial videos and reggae production videos. Go to the description below to find links to Reggae Drummer Dominik, his YouTube, as well as his website, reggaebeats.net. Thank you, and I'll see you again soon.